If you want to continue to follow our adventure, click subscribe. So you don't miss anything, click the bell notification. Hello, Laughs on the Road, subscribers and followers. So yesterday I told you about the Berkey water purification system, how great it does at purifying all the contaminants out of, you know, the stream water if you want to. Well, the thing about the Berkey is it filters so well that if the water is very dirty or rusty like we see in the National Forest, it clogs up real quick. Sometimes it can clog up these filters within 5 minutes. So every 5 minutes you're having to take a scratch pad and clean it up, and it would take forever to filter water. Well, I think I found a solution. And so I'm going to demonstrate to you today about my water system and how it all operates. And it's very primitive, but you also have to understand that it's very flexible. And I've made it where it can do a lot of different things. Our camper is very small, and I can carry water in it. I can carry about 8 5-gallon buckets, but I don't want to travel too far because it overweights the truck. Springs on the truck are smashed down, and I go to a local gas station, get some water, and then hopefully, you know, the campsite's only a few miles away. Or I have to get it from a stream. So, like any RV, I have to pump the water to do different things with. So the way I pump it is I have a 5-gallon bucket full of water. It has a hose connected to an RV pump. It's just a standard RV pump. You get it off Amazon. This one I think costs about $35, $40. And this is a pressure sensor pump. So if I'm taking a shower, for example, and I shut off the shower water, the pump will stop pumping. As soon as I turn the shower back on, the pump kicks back on. I try to make this so it's very flexible, so I can plug it into not only my shower, but I can also, remember I was saying how I clog up the filter on the Berkey? Well, I had a solution to that. What I did was I purchased a inline house filter. You can buy these at Walmart for 30 bucks. You go over there towards the paint section area and that. So you can buy 2 carbon filters for 8 bucks. Now this thing does a really good job of getting the dirty water, the rust out of the water, and makes it look clean. Now these filters will never ever make it safe to drink water. So what I do is I filter, what I actually call this is a pre-filter. I always run it through this filter twice. So I pump the water through this into a bucket, and then I dump the water back into this and pump it into the Berkey. So I do 2 pre-filters, and then I do a final filter through the Berkey. Now this thing's really easy to operate. Inside here is that carbon filter I was telling you about. The threads on each end are standard hose size threads. So I've designed my pump so it has a hose size thread. So I can just screw this filter right onto my pump. Now what's handy about that is my water heater shower. This is an on-demand water heater shower. So it runs on propane and has a standard shower head. This thing's really cool. So what I do is you hook the water up. I'll show you how to hook the water up to it in just a minute from my pump. And then you can adjust the flow rate, how much water's coming out at a time, and the heat. Now, there's a balancing act. The faster the water comes out, the more heat you will need. Now, the pump, what I've done there is I've designed where I can have this plugged right into the back of my truck. I have a prong on the back of my truck that adapts to this. And so I just plug it in, and it runs the pump. So, in order to run the shower, I simply see a hose connection. I said this is a hose connection. I just screw the hose right on to the shower. Okay, so now I've plugged the pump into the truck. So now I have electricity. You can hear it kicking on. And then all I got to do is turn the shower on. The water heater kicks on automatically. It has a battery that flames it up. And I have hot water. And then you'll hear that pump slow down. So now I'm going to show you that I can hook my filter up to my pump also. Now, the cool thing about this filter is I can also hook it up right to a spigot. I can just screw that right onto a spigot, and I can filter without the pump. I can just turn on the spigot water, fill my buckets up right through this. So it's very flexible. But if I don't, then I have to put it onto my pump Now, the way I can control the on and off is I have one of these two ways. It's just the quickest thing I found. I know you can buy a single one, but I can just turn it on, turn it off right there. That was really good for the shower. Also, I can use this on my shower where I don't have to use the switch on the shower head. I can just use this. So everything I can use to be flexible is what I try to do. I have water. And so it's filtering right now. I'm having a hard time holding it. So for those of you that are thinking about getting some sort of water purification system where you can drink water from any source, such as the Berkey. Again, I'm not an advertiser of the Berkey. I highly recommend that you find some way to pre-filter contaminated water. Anything that has large particulates in it, like stream water, has large particulates. It's going to slow this thing down in a heartbeat. Rust water, you're going to see that in every national forest. Anytime there's a water source that is not used very often, those pipes, I guess, get rusty, and all you do is drink rust. And now I know for a fact how horrible that rusty water tastes. When the camper burned down, we didn't have any water because our old Berkey burned down with the camper, so we weren't able to filter any water. We had to take it right out of the National Forest spigot, and we couldn't drink it. I mean, we were dying of thirst. It was terrible how thirsty we were, and you just couldn't drink it. So I highly recommend that you filter your water, even if it's not contaminated, because it's just terrible. The other thing I've noticed about water is even if you drink city water, you go from one city to another, it can upset your stomach for a couple days. I think it's kind of like if you change your food for your dog, you know, they'll get sick for a couple days if you don't change it over slowly. So I recommend you filter all your drinking water when you're traveling. That way you always have consistent water. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe. Click like if you like the video, and happy travel.